camera, is that okay for the other person? What's it?
It's okay.
It's okay?
Taylor Swift is dropping a new album.
It shouldn't be you.
It's probably
It should be somebody else.
colleagues, very good morning and welcome to our session this morning, the press briefing that will be addressed by our chairperson for elections, Honorable GARRY NKOMBO. I also want to thank you for coming to this short notice, what we apologize for being kept to understand. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Good morning, fellow citizens, and special welcome to you, members of the press from various media houses. Today, our press brief is in two segments. The first one is to deal with the statement that was given by the Minister of Home Affairs yesterday, Mr. Stephen KAMPYONGO, on the security situation in the country. And then the second segment, which I will handle, the second segment, the Deputy Secretary General is going to deal with the second segment, which you will be informed about in not so long from now. Yesterday, the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Stephen KAMPYONGO, at his press brief about the security situation in the country, said the following on page 11 of his statement and paragraph 2, and I wish to quote. He said that I also wish to bring to the attention of the general public that government is fully aware of the scheme of non-opposition political party under the sponsorship of foreign agents who are targeting police officers to resign and then drill them to act in a manner that would discredit the service and the government. The hatched plan is anticipated to include also officers from the defense and other security wings. Furthermore, allow me to commend some police officers who have turned down the offers from these unscrupulous individuals and decide to continue serving Mother Zambia. End of quote. We think that as a political party that is biggest in the country, this is a very irresponsible statement coming from a person of the stature of the Minister of Home Affairs. Why am I saying it's an irresponsible statement from an irresponsible minister? Is because this is not the first time where PF has made wild allegations, and the allegations that simply sit to accuse other people. And I'll give you a catalog of the examples that you will hear from me in a moment. Under PF, we have heard how Her Honor the Vice President, Mrs. Inonge Winner, at the time when some individuals or some accident happened at the gutting of the Lusaka City Market, Mrs. Winner accused the opposition, and we are the big brother of all the oppositions in this country. She accused the opposition as the ones behind those acts because they were pushing for regime change. That's one. Two, we also recall in 2013, at the point it was under Mr. Geoffrey Bwaliamwamba sitting as Defense Minister, under the leadership of the late President, Mr. Michael Chilufya-Sata, may his soul rest in peace, where they alleged on December 3, 2012, that an army called Barosi Liberation Army from Western Province of Zambia had been established to cause disturbance in the country. That was an alarming statement. And I have a statement here where the head of state sent Mr. Geoffrey Mwamba, Walia Mwamba, whichever comes first now, I get confused. Mr. Edgar Lungu, then as Minister of Home Affairs, were sent to Sisheke on a fact-finding mission about this Barosi Liberation Army, which was meant to discredit Patriotic Front. To this date, 2012 today is 8 years down the line. An act of paranoia, an act of schizophrenia, where people imagine things that do not exist. So PF did not start now. They went and did a fact-finding mission. To this day, no one has been convicted of having performed such an act. It is similar to what the Minister of Home Affairs is saying today, that known people, we challenge him to name those people. This is a treasonable offense. If anyone decides to go and destabilize a country by tampering and tinkering with the defense forces, with the internal security, it is an amount that goes for treason. It is responsible for the minister to say this, what they needed to do, as Dr. Kenneth Kaunda did during the Shamana, may his soul rest in peace, and the others coup to host Dr. Kaunda. They went and arrested them and took them through the due course of the legal trial. Mr. Kampyongo must learn that this is what they call alarming the nation. It's inciting the nation against political parties. It is an act of incitement, and he will pay the price one day, because the only thing that is permanent is change. This is cast on paper. It is his statement. He's keeping the names of these people to himself. We can only say it is another lie from PF. And when a minister resorts to lying, Zambians must wake up and say, look, you cannot continue to put a country in harm's way by giving unsubstantiated statements such as this one. Irresponsible. The catalogue is not ending now. Mr. Geoffrey Mwamba, not so long ago, after he defected from UPND, is on record as having said he knows the people who were gassing people in this country. I'm sure you all recall. He says he knows them. We challenged the police through Kanganja, who have continuously called a joker of a policeman, a joker running internal security. Here is somebody who's offering information that I know who's gassing people. I know who is putting people in harm's way. And they don't even call him for one moment to say, please help us to trace the people who are putting the country in harm's way. Irresponsible. We also heard statements from PF, and I can't remember who it was that said it, when there was some sabotage on the electricity pylon. Again, they said they know who did it, but no one is being brought to book. All right? Now, with all this, I think the country must be alive to the fact that we have jokers running the public affairs. But you can take jokes only up to a certain point. There comes a point when people must say, look, we can't be run by jokers. And next year is the year where jokers must be shown the door. Jokers must be shown the door. You cannot, when you run out of ideas, start just now hallucinating. It's called schizophrenia, where you imagine things that are not around you to be around you. We challenge the minister, Mr. Kampyongo, to hold him responsible for this statement. And we give him 24 hours to give an exact story of what he knows about who these people are, so that we can all as a country march against these people. We shouldn't forget, it is these reckless pronouncements as well that saw Mr. Hakainde Hichilema be taken in for treason, because one day Mumbipiri simply stood up and said, we're going to smoke him out of the house like a rat. And the police started running to an innocent man's house. A man who was taken in for a treason charge. Here is what treason looks like. Not a traffic mishap in Mongo, which they called a treason. Here is the minister telling us that he knows who the people who are doing this treasonous act are.
And which officers have refused.
And which officers have refused. He must come and they must substantiate this. You see how PF behaves, countrymen and women. One officer, I don't know what rank he is. What rank was he?
Sergeant.
One sergeant. A sergeant who decides to listen to his conscience. Some of us don't, we commend him, as a matter of fact, for disengaging in unprofessional police service. We salute that gentleman, whoever he is. We salute him for resigning. That's all he did. To say, I cannot be part and parcel of this road. I would rather listen to my conscience. He listened to his conscience and he left. Now you can see the whole government starts to fabricate things based on one officer who resigned. One. I think Zambians must learn that the best is yet to come. In terms of governance, the best is yet to come. There's been so much contamination. Retiring people on national interest, policemen, based on ethnic extraction. Everything that is going on in PF is about paranoia. Yopa, ukutina, kuyo, usava, just govern in these few months that you are left. Do the best that you can out of a bad situation. We will not let you continue like this, because our job as opposition is to do a check and balance of everything that PF is doing, including irresponsible statements such as this one. And for President Lungu, I think that, you know, he must take responsibility as well. He can't allow his ministers to run a country in this manner. The buck stops at the president.
Correct.
The president must get Mr. Kampyongo and ask him, did this matter go through security filtration? Was it filtered in the press? This is an act of irresponsibility at its highest order, coming from a person who's in charge of internal security. Mr. Kampyongo, sir, time has come for us to have a conversation with you. If this job has become too heavy, there's a decent way to do it. The way that sergeant did it. If the job is too heavy, there's an avenue, and it's called to resign. If you can't manage this, and no one will come and say, well, the UPND, the NDC, the DP are lowering ministers to resign. If the job is too much, just let go. That's the most decent thing to do. You can't start having visions in your head of things that do not exist. I will also like to deal with one issue, to do with the many allegations that have come from some of our rural establishments. In this particular case, I want the media to be aware that I, speaking as Member of Parliament for Mazabuka, my colleague and brother here, Honorable Patrick Mucheleka, sitting with me in Parliament, and the late Request Montanga, former MP for Kalomo, may his soul rest in peace, were champions on a cause for patriotic front stop meddling with the Bashiru Bemba, the Bemba traditional authority. At the time when PF deployed 500 heavily armed police officers at the palace of the Chitimuku, my father, it was me, the late Honorable Muntanga, Honorable Mucheleka here, who championed the cause and asked President Michael Sato to leave the Bemba royal establishment to determine their own cause and recognize the current chief Chitimuku. Speaking from where I am, I want to confirm here that where we come from, we don't engage with chiefs in feuds. We don't fight with chiefs because we are their children. At one debate where I stood, I made a declaration of an interest that I was going to talk about somebody who I regard as my father. It was Chief Chitimuku. To push the PF to leave him be recognized by the government because he was the chosen one. So the allegations that are reaching our table, the statements that are coming and attributed to my father, Chief Chitimuku, we would like to settle this with him. We respect you as our father. We are the government in waiting. We love you. We cherish you. And once the Zambian people decide that it is us with Mr. Hichilema, you will be number one on the list of invited guests to the inauguration of Mr. Hichilema next year. This is to settle fears, the anxieties that is coming from our father, that we want him out of the throne. We haven't got what it takes. We don't have what it takes. We have no instrument whatsoever, just like the sitting government here has no instrument to interfere with the issues of traditional leadership. We are aware that there has been a campaign now on the Copper Belt to give similar statements that the UPND, once it comes into power next year, Mr. Hichilema is going to push for degassation of one of the senior most respected chiefs, who we are aware about the things he speaks about us. But what can we do? He's our father, in whom we are well pleased. He's our father. And we would like at this point to simply indicate that when that time comes, not if, when that time comes, we shall go and pay homage to the chosen, the current Chief Chitimuku. We would like to make an appeal through this platform to all that may be gullible, Zambians, Bemba people, that we will stand by the chief. Whoever is instigating such a story to our home, the hosts of Kusefya Pangwena, that our intentions for establishment is inimical and will seek to remove the chief. We do not have what it takes. We have nothing to do with who ascends. We are not part and parcel of the routes and avenues of determining who the right person is. So history will judge us, and to judge us for what we are. Myself, Honorable Mucheleka, who is a family member in that royal establishment, the late Honorable Muntanga, we're almost breaking tables for PF to recognize the Chitimuku. Through this platform, and without embarrassing my father, the chief, the first meeting that I had with the chief at Honorable Mwamba's house. There was a function of Mateleto. The chief confessed to me and said, son, you are the NKOMBO that I hear about. I listened to your debate each time you were pushing for my cause and my hair lifted. The chief told me that. And I'm sure this is to remind him that we are still in the same accord. It's to remind Mwenelubemba that we are still in the same accord. Never will there be a day where we will stand up to despise him. We will give advice. We will receive advice. We are brothers keepers. We also want him to accept us as his children. Because the die will soon be cast. When Parliament is dissolved, there is only PF, the outgoing government, and UPND that are going to make an impact to the voters. As you saw in 2016, 0.09% difference, close to call, on a highly disputed election. From some of us where we stand, a stolen election. Because they shut the door for us at a court. What more can you expect? Because times have even become harder for the Zambian people. It is a reincarnation of the late musician P.K. Shala's song. What was that song again?
Common man.
Common Man. We are all commoners, and therefore we are calling upon all the common men to put us on an assessment table. We are calling upon the disgruntled youths to continue putting us on an assessment table. We are calling on the young and the old, the clergy, and everywhere to weigh PF and understand whether or not they are taking us across the shore to the milk and honey land. That's what our prayer is for. We have offered ourselves as UPND, and we shall continue to offer ourselves as UPND, as an alternative government. Once again, we want to wish Mwenelubemba the very best health. We wish him wealth. We wish him good tidings. We wish for him to settle down and accept that we are his #1 supporters ourselves, and he knows that. But at our Shiva, you know, we met. Nothing has changed from where we stand. If things have changed where you stand, we pray that they'll change again so that we can move in one accord. The development agenda is with the chiefs, is with the politicians, is with the disgruntled youth, is with the church, it's with everyone. And so we are calling everybody to go and do an examination of who we all are, to weigh us, multipime, all of us, and see who means well for this country and who does not. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Election. Honorable NKOMBO and Honorable Siakalima. At this juncture, let me call upon Chairman for local government to just perform one act and then I'll come in.
Thank you very much, SG, the Chairman Elections, Honorable Siakalima. Present before us are two councillors from Mansabombo who have come to add themselves to UPND. Our councillors now seated here. About it.
No, the position where you are set.
Oh,
If you could change
That's why I
this.
asked you earlier on.
okay.
Sorry for the just.
Can, are you able to guide, Rosie?
Yes, I asked them the same thing.
But the Nigeria is okay only for this.
But I met with some customers because I knew
Even from where I'm
camera
sitting,
can take photos.
okay, you can adjust.
Just him alone.
No, just him alone.
Just him
Come-
alone.
come.
Maybe you could do.
No,
before
No,
you
it's
call
not
it.
What is it?
He wants to go.
Councillors.
Yeah, if he can.
No, the council needs to be here. Right?
Yeah,
They are just swapping as this.
they are just swapping as this swap. They will swap.
Is anyone live?
Do we have anyone who's live?
Is he okay?
Are you okay?
He is like
Who's live?
him.
Which outlet?
KPN TV.
Oh,
Are you okay? No, no, I mean others.
okay.
You're live.
So you're okay to pick him from there?
Are you able to pick him up?
Yeah, yes, even here he was okay.
But you can also still shift around.
Yeah.
Shift around. Shift to somewhere else. Okay. Right.
Yes, Secretary General, thank you very much for this opportunity. I was just saying I'm presenting two councillors to the United Party for National Development, which councillors are coming from Mwansa-Bombo. Now, these councillors have seen the tide that PF is actually drowning, and they have spoken to their conscience, and have now decided to come and join UPND for various reasons which anchor on development. That the district at large and their wards haven't seen any bit of development, even when that place is known to be a PF stronghold. Going through the manifesto of the UPND, they now realize that they see a party that is carrying development with it, and hence to that effect have decided today that they must come and register their defections forthwith. To this extent, Secretary General, allow me now to present to you Kelvin Mwape, Councillor serving. He is also district chairman for district secretary for Mwansa-Wombwe, and also a serving councillor who comes to join UPND today. And Councillor Mutunda, who's a councillor in Mwansa-Wombwe, in Beleshi Ward. So, Councillor Kelvin, we receive you in UPND, the warm party that you are coming to join the government for tomorrow. Secretary General, allow me to now present the two councillors to you.
Welcome, welcome into UPND. Welcome, welcome. Zambia?
Forward.
Zambia?
Forward.
Well, here we are, countrymen and women. We want just to show you that UPND is a party that is on the verge of forming government in the next few months. For some time now, an impression has been given that the party is in disarray. A number of induced by-elections by PF, particularly in our areas that are perceived to be UPND strongholds. For us in the UPND, I want to let the Zambians know that for some time now, we have been restraining several PF councillors, several PF MPs who have been wanting to join the UPND. However, for us, we have been pleading with councillors, MPs, that you hold on. We are looking at the issue of how costly the by-elections can be. The country is bleeding. There is no money. These councillors are able to tell you. They are coming from Mwansa-Wombwe. There is no any form of development that you can talk about in the so-called PF bedrooms, strongholds. These people are fed up. They can't hold on anymore. They are saying, now is the time for us to move forward. The pressure, the agony is too much for our people. The people's life